Good morning, you guys. Early morning coffee video before the day gets crazy. Um, the other night, as I posted right after Massie lost, and everything I say is for entertainment purposes only, not fact. It is just intuitive insight. And also Coco, for some reason, when I start to make a video, Coco gets like activated, and I love her. But sometimes I'm frustrated when she keeps pushing my hand and meows and scratches me. So I get a little frustrated, but I love her very much. So we'll just have to deal with it here. Because she is adorable. But anyway, so yeah, Massie loses, and I instantly feel like, to be honest, leading up to his primary here, I thought 45's going to do something. 45's, it just felt like it, It felt like 2024. That's what it felt like with Kamala. The exact thing. With Kamala, what I felt was, and what I always got was she was going to win, but 45 would find a way to get in the White House. That's what I always felt about Kamala. She was going to win, hands down, but 45 was going to get into the White House. And why? Because the Epstein files. That's exactly what I felt. I remember thinking over and over again, he's not going to allow himself to, not be in the White House again, because he's never going to allow the Epstein files to implicate him and send him to jail. He's not going to do it. He's going to fight like hell. He's going to find a way to get in. And so anyway, so Massie loses, and I'd already had my feelings, and I just instantly, and he concedes, and I'm like, here we go. I don't care what anyone says about, conspiracies about elections, cheating and hacking and all of that. I 100% feel that something was off, that 45 had a major influence and something was off. So what are the patterns? Like a false life attempt again, and then Elon shows up again, and then all this money pours in out of nowhere from Israel again. And then, okay. So I kept getting the word ballot stuffing, and I thought of the country with R. And yeah, I kept getting ballot stuffing. And I got that with 45, he says things like, we're not going to count mail-in ballots. We're not going to count because they're illegal. It's how the Democrats are going to cheat. So we're not going to count any mail-in ballots. We're going to invalidate those. And then he already has the post office all jacked up and saying that they're not going to timestamp mail-in ballots. So even if you sent them 2 months ahead of time or whatever time's allowed, and it says that it's locked in that your ballot was sent before the election. So even if it says that, they're going to decide. His people are going to decide. Now, someone said, Trump doesn't count ballots. I know he doesn't. But it's his mandates that he has put in place. It's his loyalists in place. That's what it is. I know he's not counting the ballots. It's the people and the rules and the mandates that he's putting in place. And it's just constantly, every day, creating these rules and regulations. And when he says, oh, the post office, they're not going to count, even if it has a date, it's not going to count, because if it doesn't show up and it's fishy looking, and also we're not going to count those. And also he has his people on like Fox News saying things like, only the right people should vote. We're only going to count the right people ballots. Well, they mean white people, but they also mean Trump loyalists, right? That's what they really mean. But when they say things like that, you know what they're doing. Okay, so here's what I felt. I feel like all these extra ballots came in at the end, and it was ballot stuffing, and it was like a dump of ballots. And everything that he said that the Democrats did, which they didn't in 2024 and 2020, Everything he accused the Democrats of doing is what he's doing, and that's what he does. That's what he always does. He always accuses other people of doing things that he's doing. It's like the person that accuses you of cheating when they're cheating. And so when he says, "I think the Democrats are gonna flood us and do ballot dumping," well, that's what he's already planning on doing. And that's why he's worried about Democrats doing it, because he's doing it for entertainment purposes only. So yeah, I kept getting ballot stuffing and dumps. I hate that term, but whatever. Thanks to Trump for making us say these stupid terms that sound like disgusting terms. But anyway, that there was a ballot dump. That's what I feel. And at the end, he allowed all these mail-in ballots from whatever, out of nowhere, to come in and influence the election on Monday night, the primary. And just like, I don't know, and the statistics are not matching up. Like, where did they come from? So like, let's say in 2024, Massie wins, right? He wins his seat. And there's only a certain amount of voters in that district. And now there's like 40,000 more against him. I mean, they should have just been, Trump should have just done the 11,780, because that's what he wants. See, he asked Georgia in 2020 to provide 11,780. That's what he wants. He wants people, his loyalists, in place in the county, in the election board, and to ballot stuff. And they did. I feel like that's absolutely what they did. So they'll count those ballots, those mail-in ballots, but they won't count the ones that are for Democrats. They won't count. Anyway, you know what I mean. That's what I'm getting. That's what I feel they did. And I feel that that's his plan for the midterms. That's what I feel he's got planned. One of the big plans. Now, if we had election audits, and what's funny, I was the first person to go on to social media on Monday night and then Tuesday morning, and I was like, we have, how to cure this, how to fix this? Audits, election audits, and or hand recounts, but absolutely audits. Now, if you can audit taxes, if you can inventory buildings, like stores inventory their merchandise every year, but we have tax audits. If we can audit taxes, we sure the hell can audit every single election. And then when somebody comes on and says, "You stupid Democrats, and you sound just like the Republicans in 2020 saying that there's conspiracy theory of election cheating. You sound just like them." But you know how to cure that? Audits. Election audits. That's how you cure it. So you can say that we're all crazy. I don't think it's crazy to say that there was cheating. Because, when Elon goes and hacks every government website and steals all our data and all the money, and they're still stealing and they're in our banks. I feel like they're in our bank accounts. They're everywhere. They're in our social media. I don't think it's crazy to say that these folks who just signed a deal because his own people, DOJ, allowed him to get almost $2 billion of taxpayer money. And now he says he never has to be audited ever again. And he says he's going to give pardons to everyone. I don't think that it's crazy to say that those people might steal an election or might have stolen an election, right? I don't think it's crazy. People who would steal your money would absolutely steal your vote. So, to cure the people saying that it's election conspiracy theory, do audits, lock it in. This is the chance. So let's say that Massie has a great opportunity right now to help secure future elections by his loss. And that is to demand audits of every future election. But that takes too much time. I don't give a crap. If we can do all this other crap we're doing, a crazy amount of insanity in this country, if you can send Doge everywhere, He's going to start wars everywhere and build stupid ballrooms, which are really like his bunker pavilion, like Jim Jones. If we can do all that, we sure the hell can do election audits, and it can be locked in, part of the process, right? We have the capability. So that's how I feel about that. I feel Massie won. And you know what? You look at his rallies and then you look at the opponents. We didn't even know. Nobody even knew who the opponent was. And you know what? With Kamala, with her rallies, how big they were, how populated they were. She was very popular. The visuals were incredible. And then they showed like crickets at 45's rallies at the same time in 2024. And I had the same feeling when they showed here recently in Hungary, when the quote-unquote Democrat-ish opponent won. And they showed their rallies were like Kamala's. And that candidate won. Now, what was the difference? No Elon. That's the difference. No Elon. I think Elon really is the key in a lot of this. And then we have his girlfriend coming out, our baby mama. I don't think she's his girlfriend. You know, I can't completely trust her because she was pro-MAGA at one point and obviously aligned with Elon at one point. But kudos to her for having the cojones, the bravery to come out and say what he was doing, and that he clearly had some part in election interference in 2024. And she also said he was under the influence and making irrational decisions. So anyway, just want to post that and just say that that's what I feel happened. I absolutely feel that I keep getting the term ballot stuffing, and I keep getting that this is the plan, is to count the ballots they like. And so we can't do that. We have to have audits. That means you count all the ballots, all of them. The independent council, independent people, not loyalists, not his people, but independent, across the board, counting, doing an audit of all the ballots. So you can have, you know what, his plan is to always lock it in, like in the evening of the election, lock it in. All the major networks call it, oh, the 45 backed candidate won. And then, you know, Massie or whoever concedes and is locked in. No, it should be a days on process. Count and do the recount, lock it in, get the receipts. None of this, oh, I guess we won. We won, lock it in, call it, the other person concedes, done. No. Count it all. Count it. Do a recount. Independent party. I'm sorry, I know I'm repeating myself, but so like I want the universe to hear this. Okay, so and here's crazy conspiracy. Now here is crazy conspiracy talk. Okay, real quick before I go. There's a lot of people talking about like timeline shifts and glitches and things like that, and how people are having these weird things where they'll have one item, some rare item in their life, like their friend gave them a green heart with a green copper verdigris heart with a diamond on the middle of it, and their friend handmade it in 1997 and gave it to them. Only one. So point being, only one item. And then they wake up one morning and there's two. There's two of them. I've been seeing so many of those stories of people saying they're having timeline glitch and like duplicities. And I was like, you know, what is it? Why is that happening? Because I've had my own things that have happened. I've seen a timeline glitch. I literally saw the ground shift in front of my feet one day, and my life was different after that moment. And so I believe, and I've seen many things since then that have shown me that I feel like we hop timelines. And I feel like with 45 that they've with the election in 2024, they do timeline, like they shift us into different timelines. I really feel that. And that when we all woke up on election night at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or whatever it was, they call it the 3 a.m. club, or whatever did they say, that we all woke up because the timeline went back. But I feel like what's happening with these duplicities is that I feel like that they have found a way, and it's probably with Elon, I feel that they found a way, or what if they found a way, they're creating different duplicitous timelines because they're so worried about 45 losing, because they know he's going to lose the midterms. They know he is. But they're creating all these extra timelines for themselves to shift us into, so that when he loses, they shift us. And then they know that we're powerful. They know that we figured all this out. They know that we are all learning how to sort of push back into the positive and see the signs of cheating and timeline shifting and nefarious behavior and propaganda and brain control and algorithms and all of this stuff, right? They know that we know. What if they're creating all these different timelines for themselves to keep pushing us into? So he loses, they push us into another timeline where he wins, and then we figure that out, and we go back into the good timeline, then they push us into another one, and then we're just constantly, they keep pushing us into their negative, dark timelines. That's what I think they're doing. I really feel that. Also, what if, now this is what if they are trying to create all these AI centers for exactly that. They're using the AI centers not just for Google, not just for Facebook, not just for Zuckerberg, not just for whatever, ChatGPT. What if they're desperately trying to create all these AI centers to shift timelines? What if that's really what it's about? I feel like every time, let's say yesterday morning, for example, I get up. It's a sunny day. It's pretty. It's a sunny, pretty day. Take my dog for a walk. I have to go to work. And as I'm driving to work, here we go. Here comes that weird, it's almost like ominous cloud bank that rolls in out of nowhere, wasn't projected in the forecast. It's just, I see it. Here it is. I've seen it a million times. Beautiful day. We're happy. The light sort of fuels us, makes us happy, right? And then I feel like it's like when the timeline shifts, there's like this big, ominous, dark cloud literally comes across. Everything feels dark and ominous. We're all like depressed. We're tired. And I feel like that's when they shift the timelines and put us, and they did that on November, with the November election. There was this huge, dark cloud that entire day. I feel like they do it. When you see those horrible, weird, oppressive blanket of dark clouds just coming out of nowhere, I really feel like that's a timeline shift, and that's one of the ways they do it. But that's a what if conspiracy theory. That really is, for entertainment purposes only. But I don't know. That's what I notice. And that's when I learned years ago. I know it's crazy. I know it is, guys. But I'm an intuitive, and what can I say? I'll never be like normal. Everything's on the level. I see everything. Everything's fine. Okay, everything's fine. You said it's fine. No. I'm like, I've seen too much in my life. Okay. I don't believe in every conspiracy theory, but I also know that there's a little bit of truth in every conspiracy theory. Why? Because conspiracy theories are when people ask something and it's never answered properly, or they're denied answers. There's a little bit of truth in every conspiracy theory out there, okay? Anyway, so this is what I learned years ago. Cloud busting. I learned it because I noticed that, let's say I was in a good mood, sun is out, the day is beautiful, and then all of a sudden there's this huge cloud thing that just shows up, right? Natural, whatever, I don't care. But I'd get depressed. And so I would start to learn how to cloud bust. I would literally sit there and send out breaths and energy and prayers and manifestation, and I would learn, and it helped my intuition to do this. It was like an exercise for my own, like my third eye and my crown chakra. And I would learn how to cloud bust, and I would do this and work with the universe, and there would be like this huge opening above where I lived. And I remember I would feel kind of naughty about it. I'd be like, like giggling to myself, but also like, oh shit, it worked. I was able to cloud bust, and then of course it would cover it back. It would get covered up again. You know, um, I really believe it. I believe that there's something about cloud busting, and that is something that if you practice, we all could do it for timelines. So everybody should learn how to cloud bust. Because then when you learn how to work with the energy of the universe, and you learn how to work with against their negative and to reverse their negative energy intent, whatever it is, we can battle them like the image of the Care Bears joining hands and battling the nefarious enemy, the antagonist. That's so crazy, I know, but it's true. This is what Spirit has shown me. Cloud busting is key. What if we all cloud busted the elections and kept us in the good timeline where we know, and he knows, 45 knows he's going to lose the midterms. His people are going to lose the midterms. But anyway, just an intuitive saying stupid things. So I'll post this, and it means nothing, but that's just how I feel about everything that happened on Monday and in the future. So thanks for listening, and bye.